Okay, this is Math 7. This is lesson 9-1. So what we're doing here is we're using circumference. So in the last set of problems, we were given the radius and we were asked to find the circumference, but this time we're actually given the circumference and asked to find the radius. So we're just working out the opposite direction. So example 2, a circular pond has a circumference of 628 feet. A model boat is moving directly across the pond along a radius at a rate of 5 feet per second. How long does it take for the boat to get from the edge to the center? So first, what we need to do is we need to figure out how big the radius is. So we know what the function is, and it's right here. Circumference equals 2 pi r. So let's go ahead and fill in what we know. So we know that the circumference is 628 feet, and that's equal to 2 times pi, and we can use 3.14 times, and we don't have a value for the radius, it's what we're finding, so we'll just use the variable r. All right, so let's simplify by multiplying these terms together. So we have 628 is equal to 6.28 times r. I made it a times because it's easier to see in this drawing tool. And so what we see is that since it's multiplying, to get r by itself so that we can solve for r or figure out what the value of r is, we're going to have to divide by this number to get rid of it. So let's divide both sides by 6.28. So 628 divided by 6.28 is equal to r. If you divide that, you can grab your calculator, or if you just see what the answer is, we can figure out that the answer is 100 equals r. So let's go ahead and write it over here. So that makes the radius equal to 100 feet. All right, so now that we know what the radius is, we still have to answer the real question. How long does it take the boat to get from the edge of the pond to the center? All right, so we have, when we're talking about how long it takes, we have to look at the problem for speed. So speed, which when we say it in your head, you might say miles per hour, is equal to distance divided by time. All right, so there's a division problem there. So to get it by itself, if we need to figure out what the answer for how long something is, we're going to have to rearrange that equation. So time is equal to distance divided by speed. And you can probably figure that out if you wanted to. If we were in person, we could practice a few and figure out that how fast and how long it takes you. But you kind of know that intuitively. All right, so let's plug in our numbers. So we want to find time, and that's going to be equal to the distance that we have to travel is 100 feet. And that's going to be divided by our speed, and we already know our speed is 5 feet per second. So 5 feet per second. So 100 divided by 5 is equal to 20. So 100 divided by 5 equals 20. That means it's going to take approximately 20 seconds to get from one side to the center. So we'll write that. We'll write it over here. 20 seconds to get to the center. All right? Let's go ahead while we're here, and let's go ahead and drop down and let's do the problem your turn. So a circular garden has a circumference of 44 yards. Just for fun, since I'm in a drawing tool anyway, I'll draw my circular garden. I'll use green because green circles, right? So it has a circumference of 44. Lars is digging a straight line. I mean, we're all gardening right now, right? In our pandemic. So Lars is digging a straight line along the diameter, and he's giving it at a rate. So he's digging a straight line, and he's digging it at a rate of 7 yards per hour. how many hours will it take for him to dig across the garden? So unlike our first problem, this problem is asking us to find the whole diameter. So let's write down what we know. So we know that the circumference is equal to pi times the diameter. And again, I don't have the symbol for pi on my drawing app right here or on my keyboard, otherwise I'd use it. But pi is equal to that. Let's fill in what we know. We have 44 is equal to 3.14 times d. All right, you should know that if we're multiplying on this side to get d by itself, which is the number we need to figure out for the diameter, we are going to have to divide by 3.14. 44 divided by 3.14. Grab your calculator, is about equal to 14. And we're going to say it is, we'll round it, and we'll say it is 14. And then what is our unit? And that's going to be in yards. So our, let's use text. So our diameter is approximately 14 yards. All right, so now we have to figure out how long it's going to take him. Again, we're doing a speed here, so I'll use a different color and I'll write it out. So we know that speed equals distance divided by time. If we need to find time, it's going to be equal to distance divided by speed. So our time equals, our distance is 14 yards, and we're digging at 7 yards per hour. So that's going to be equal to, well, I guess you can probably guess, it's 2. So that's going to mean that it's going to take 2 hours. So what's the answer? 2 hours to dig across.